So, Rajinder, thank you so much for coming onto the show today. My first question for you is we would love to hear about your story and career development. Let's start from the very beginning. How did your post-secondary experience lead you to where you are today?
That's a great question to start with. So after I graduated from university with my undergraduate degree, I just started looking for work, and I really didn't know. It was a really exciting time for me. And I got my first job as a marketing coordinator. And I still to this very day love that job because I just had so much fun learning in that particular role. And then I found myself progressing in marketing, loving what I did, and moved into different roles. I worked in sales as a district manager, which I thought was really helpful for my career and understanding the customer side of the business. And I eventually moved into roles related to brand management, service marketing, event marketing, and just got a chance to really apply everything that I had learned in school. And then I ended up going back to grad school, which has allowed me to teach as well too. And then I went back into industry, and I still kept working the same types of roles. And what I found was that I always wanted to try teaching. And so I started teaching one night out of the week at a local community college. I loved it. And I realized right then and there, I'd been managing employees for some years. I enjoyed working with people. And I realized I want to do this permanently. I realized it was my calling. And then I switched into teaching full time. And that's what I do now.
That is so cool. What a magical journey. So, Rajinder, can you tell us a little more about what you do as a marketing professor? What does a typical day in your life look like?
A typical day, expect change. Okay, I think anyone who works in marketing or even in teaching, there's always change, but there are some typical responsibilities. At the heart and soul of what I do, I have classes in a teaching semester, and the key there is planning and preparing. And what I learned is that the skills that I had professionally as a marketer actually transferred very well into teaching, because marketers plan, they prepare, and you use that skill set when you're teaching and teaching marketing in particular. The other things I find myself doing, I work in a team environment. We've got departmental work, so I'm actively involved in that. And I'd say probably the third piece is continuous learning. Marketing is evolving. It's not a static profession, and the rate of change is pretty fast. So we also have to keep up to date with it as faculty. So keeping up to date is also part of what I do with my day-to-day work. I have to see what's happening out there. I bring it into the classroom as examples, but I also have to keep myself up to date with technology and changes that are taking place.
That's a lot of keeping up to do. So, Rajinder, what would you say are some essential qualities and skills to succeed in the world of marketing, especially in the marketing communication field? How might someone acquire these skills?
That's such a great question to ask. My honest, direct answer is, look, all the schools are shooting out great graduates in marketing, right? There's a strong foundational background in education that exists there. And our school, Kwantlen, we have a great program, but I also believe other schools have good programs too. So I think the essential skills that really put someone apart are the soft skills and the communication skills. Those are the individuals who really, I think, stand out. So I always tell anyone who's interested in working in marketing, you have to have the soft skills, you have to have the people skills, you have to have the written skills, the communication skills. A lot of students are interested in social media and content marketing, and that's fantastic, but you need the communication skills. You need to be able to write effectively. You need to be able to talk with others, and that's a skill set to master. If you can master those skills, it will come across. It will come across when you work with others, when you are interviewing, and that will help you land a position that you're looking for, and it'll help you when you're in your role, because you're going to find that you're working in teams in a workplace environment. So I find that it's actually the soft skills, I think, that are really, really critical for a graduate when they're coming out of a program and they're wondering, like, now where do I go? Where do I find work? How do I know there's all these other students out there who are looking for work as well. So I think it's your soft skills, your people skills, your communication skills, written skills are really essential. And that hasn't changed. And I don't think it will change in the future.
So we know that the job market is constantly changing and evolving. We see digital marketing campaigns and social media campaigns everywhere now. Based on your experience, can you share with us some of your thoughts on the future of digital marketing and marketing communication?
Sure, I'd love to give my perspective. That's a great question. Well, here's my first thought. Expect it to keep changing. What we're all used to today is not going to be here 10 years from now. It's going to keep evolving. When I look at social media, and I was in graduate school when a lot of the major social media platforms came out. I remember Facebook. I remember LinkedIn, and being in a class with my cohort, and we were all signing up, and those networks are still around. The new ones have arisen, and they're going to keep evolving. And so what you can really expect in marketing communications is change. So I find that education is going to be a lifelong experience for a marketer. It's not a, you graduate and you have everything you need. And I think that's one of the exciting things about being in marketing. It's always evolving. So there's going to need to be some professional development throughout your career. In terms of the technical skills, well, once again, you'll have to stay on top of those, right? A graduate today should have skills. They should, on top of their education, which they learn in their programs, and most programs do have technical components, but every student should have basic skills. Word, PowerPoint, and Excel is what everyone learned back in the day. Now you need your certifications. You need your Google certifications, for instance. There's paid certifications like Facebook Blueprint. There are design skills that you can get with free programs like Canva. There's also the Adobe suite for someone who's more interested in more in-depth design. There's countless certifications, SEO certifications like SEMrush that offer all sorts of free certifications. There's so many of them out there. So I would say to someone, just start doing them. If you haven't started, just get online, start doing them, and keep learning. They're going to keep evolving and changing, and there's going to be new ones out there. And it's a lifelong experience. So just start. Once you start and you start the process, it actually becomes fun when you start doing those extra certifications, which even I've done many myself.
So lastly, can you share some advice with the young generation on how we can keep competitive and adapt to this fast changing business environment that we're in?
Well, the first thing you have to do is always keep positive. I think that's your starting point. A lot of it starts with your perspective and attitude. If you're open, if you're open to change and you enjoy marketing, I'd say, once again, it's a lifelong experience. It's a lifelong learning experience. It's going to be continuous. Once again, you got to start. I'd say just start working. You're going to find your passion. I know from my own experience when I started, for instance, when I started teaching for the first time, I knew right away I wanted to keep doing it. And I think that once you start into a position, the organization's culture is really important. And once you start working in there and you start learning about different roles and activities, you're going to find that you gravitate towards some areas more than others. And I would just encourage someone just to keep pursuing it, keep learning, add yourself to different networks, get onto LinkedIn. That's another great way to keep up to date with what's happening in industry. Follow certain individuals or certain organizations to keep yourself up to speed with what's happening. There's also professional development opportunities. Most organizations now really do encourage employees, a lot of them do, I should say, to do professional development, especially in marketing, where you have to keep up to date with what's happening in industry. And there's industry associations here in British Columbia and just about everywhere where you can get involved. So there's lots of great opportunities, and I'd say keep your network alive. talk to people, meet people, and establish that core network, which is really going to help support you in that learning experience.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, Rajinder, today. It's such an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed being here.